A $5 million ring vanished, a secret wedding nobody saw coming, denied, and a divorce that disappeared as fast as it was filed. This isn't just another celebrity love story. This is Toni Braxton and Birdman, a relationship built on mystery, rumors, and maybe survival. For years, fans watched them fall in love, fall apart, and fall right back into the headlines. Private vacations, public breakups, missing jewelry, but behind the music, behind the reality shows. There's a question no one can answer. Was it ever real? Or was this one of the most complicated business arrangements in Hollywood history? Let's break down how Toni Braxton and Birdman went from friends to fiancés to strangers to something even stranger. Long before Birdman ever entered the picture, Toni Braxton was already living two very different lives. On stage, she was untouchable, a powerhouse voice, a Grammy-winning superstar. But off stage, things weren't so perfect. In 2001, Toni married Carrie Lewis, a member of the R&B group Mint Condition. Together they had 2 sons, and for a while life seemed stable, but in reality, financial problems, health battles, and career pressures were quietly pulling them apart. By 2009, their marriage officially ended. But here's the twist most people don't know. Even after the divorce, Toni and Carrie didn't fully separate. They kept living in the same Atlanta home for their kids' sake. They even took family vacations together once a year, trying to maintain some version of peace. But behind that fragile truce, Toni's heart was moving in a very different direction. And that direction was straight toward one of the most unexpected names in hip-hop. It started in 2002, Toni Braxton, the R&B queen, and Birdman, the kingpin of Cash Money Records. 2 names nobody expected to hear in the same sentence. But music has a strange way of bringing opposites together. They collaborated on the track Baby You Can Do It, a slow-burning duet that had fans raising eyebrows. The chemistry in the music video, undeniable. But back then, Toni shut down every rumor. She was still married, Birdman was still deep in the streets, and their lives couldn't have been more different. Birdman was wild, famous for throwing money, kissing Lil Wayne on the mouth in public, and living like a rap mogul straight out of a movie. Toni? She was still playing it safe, or at least trying to. But behind closed doors, the connection didn't fade. It stayed there, quiet, waiting. And when Toni's marriage to Carrie finally crumbled for good, Birdman didn't waste any time stepping into the picture. But their story wasn't going to be simple. In fact, it was about to get messy. After her divorce, Toni Braxton tried to keep things quiet. But when you're one of the most famous voices in music, quiet never lasts long. In 2012, rumors exploded that Toni was dating comedian and actor Eddie Murphy. Fans were stunned. Eddie? Really? But whatever was happening behind the scenes didn't last. The relationship fizzled before it even caught fire. And then came another surprise. Fans begged Toni to get with her longtime music collaborator Babyface. After all, they made magic in the studio. Why not in real life? But Toni shut that down fast. Babyface wasn't looking at her like that. Not then, not ever. And just when it seemed like Toni's love life was heading nowhere, Birdman made his move. Quiet at first, then louder. By 2016, they shocked everyone when they walked their first red carpet together. Not as collaborators, not as friends, but as a couple. And the world had questions. What did the queen of sultry R&B see in the roughest boss of hip-hop? But Toni didn't care. Birdman spoiled her, showering her with gifts, including one very loud message to the world, a brand new Bentley SUV with her name on it. And as their relationship heated up, so did the rumors that this wasn't just love, this was something else. In January 2018, Birdman did what nobody saw coming. He proposed, and Toni said yes. The news hit like a bombshell. Fans couldn't decide if they were shocked or just confused. The glamorous R&B icon was officially engaged to one of hip-hop's most feared and mysterious figures. But almost immediately, the questions started piling up. Why was Toni delaying the wedding? Why couldn't they set a date? Behind the scenes, Toni blamed her busy schedule. But to outsiders, it felt like excuses. And then came the moment that turned the entire story upside down. While flying from New York to Los Angeles on a Delta flight, Toni accidentally left something behind. Not just a bag, not just jewelry, but her $5 million yellow diamond engagement ring. Left on a plane, the bag was found, but the ring, gone. Fans were stunned. Critics called it suspicious, and Birdman's reaction only fueled the fire, casually telling reporters he didn't care because he could always buy her another one. To some people, that sounded like love. But to others, it sounded like business. By 2019, the Toni Braxton and Birdman story had officially left reality and entered the world of social media chaos. Out of nowhere, Birdman posted 2 words to his Instagram story that sent fans into a frenzy. It's over. No warning, no explanation, just a digital mic drop that had everyone scrambling for answers. Hours later, Toni and Birdman unfollowed each other online. In the world of celebrities, that's code for breakup. but not so fast. Months later, Birdman appeared on The Wendy Williams Show and casually claimed it was all just a publicity stunt. No real breakup, no real drama. Just a move to keep people talking. And it worked. Because by this point, their love story wasn't just personal, it was part of Tony's reality show, Braxton Family Values. Every twist, every rumor, every shady post was now feeding a larger machine, entertainment. But behind the cameras, things weren't exactly picture perfect. By 2020, the wedding still hadn't happened. Tony told the Rick and Sasha show that they'd been going back and forth on wedding plans, setting dates, canceling them, arguing over how big or small it should be. At one point, Birdman even suggested a drive-through wedding. Tony shut that idea down immediately. But what neither of them realized was that the real mess hadn't even started yet. By late 2023, their story had become a guessing game. Were they still together? Were they married? Or was it all just smoke and mirrors? In December, the internet exploded when a messy online source reported that Toni Braxton and Birdman had finally gotten married in secret. Fans lost their minds. The headlines were everywhere. But Toni's response? Cold, direct. She reposted the rumor herself, only to shut it down completely. My dear friend Birdman and I are not married. Never been married. We are both single. Friend-zoned, publicly. Fans were convinced it was over for good. But this was Toni Braxton and Birdman. Nothing was ever that simple. Because just 4 months later, in April 2025, TMZ dropped a bombshell report that nobody could believe. Toni and Birdman had gotten married after all. Secretly, privately, away from the cameras, away from the headlines. But the twist didn't end there. Less than 2 weeks after tying the knot, Toni filed for divorce. The official reason listed in the court documents? Irretrievably broken. Fans were speechless. But if you thought that was the end, you don't know Toni Braxton. Just when it seemed like Toni Braxton was finally done with Birdman, she did what nobody expected. In January 2025, just weeks after filing for divorce, Toni dismissed the petition. No explanation, no press conference, no reality show drama, quiet, clean, final. Birdman signed off on it. And just like that, they were still married. But not a single person, not fans, not blogs, not even the Braxton family diehards, really understood what was happening. Were they back together? Was this about love, loyalty, or something else entirely? The rumors came flooding in again. Some claimed it was about Toni's health, a strategic move to ensure someone trusted was in charge of her estate if anything happened to her. After all, Toni had been public about her battle with lupus and heart complications for years. Others whispered that this wasn't romance, this was business. An arrangement, a protective partnership between two public figures who'd been through too much to leave things messy. But there was one thing everyone could agree on. Whatever this relationship was, it wasn't ordinary. At this point, Toni Braxton and Birdman aren't just a couple. They're a mystery wrapped in millions of dollars, private deals, and public drama. For over 2 decades, their story has blurred the line between love and loyalty, between romance and survival. And maybe that's the point. In a world where celebrity relationships are built for headlines and reality shows, Toni and Birdman played by their own rules. Maybe this wasn't the fairy tale fans were hoping for, but it was never meant to be. Toni Braxton is a fighter. Someone who's battled health scares, financial ruin, heartbreak, and the brutal spotlight of fame. Birdman is a survivor from the streets of New Orleans, a man who built an empire out of nothing. Together, they created a story nobody could predict and nobody could fully understand. Are they still together today? Are they business partners protecting each other's legacies? Or are they two people who learned the hard way that love in the spotlight comes with a price? Whatever the truth is, one thing is clear. This was never just about marriage. This was about power. This was about control. This was about survival. And in the world of Toni Braxton and Birdman, that might be the biggest love story of all.